Good afternoon to you all, and again, thank you for inviting me for this. This topic has nothing to do with Merck. Let me be honest with you. And next is my apologies because the font here, because when once we use a Merck font, I understand that when it is loaded on another computer, it changes the entire system. So apologies, but again, the words still remains the same. One of the reasons why I agreed when I was asked to speak about this particular topic is being a Bangalorean every day we all crave, but by the end of the day, what is our contribution towards the city to make it better? A lot of forums happen, a lot of discussions do happen in and around this, and being a part of this, I thought that yes, why can't I represent this and take it forward? I do not know how many of you really understand because yes, there are many issues in Bangalore as well as in Karnataka as well as in India, but across the country, every state and every city is really putting a best effort to make it better and to become better. Recently, the police commissioner of Bangalore had invited some of the industry leaders along with the home ministry, even our home minister was there, to understand how can we make Bangalore much better sustainable and then move to Karnataka because that is the area which they were interested in, they wanted to really look at it. And some of these, what I have brought as information is from these discussions, whatever we had presented to the police commissioner as well as to the ministry. So, just to look at it, exploring the essential elements of a smart society, because we heard from morning enough topics on different aspects, because let it be on the IoT, let it be on the AI, let it be on the smart city, let it be on different topics. But just if you really look at it, the entire smart society, if you want to really build it, the smart infrastructure is something which is extremely important. 40% of the society's energy demand is from the buildings. Today, I'm narrate because again, I do interact with a lot of other managing directors and the CEOs of the company, telling that everybody is looking for a LEED certified building. What does that mean? Because all our buildings at Merck, we are LEED either gold or platinum certified. Because that is the first action from the industry. Because when 40% of this energy is being consumed by the building, so that the building has to be in line with the energy efficient, and we need to be able to be looking at it. Advanced mobility, because I heard that again the EV is one of the methodology, because even the government has introduced so many EV vehicles today. I don't know how many of you have recently traveled to Mysore. You don't even feel like taking your car anymore, even if you have an EV car, because the government has more than 1,000 plus buses in Karnataka, which is EV. And again, the mobility has become much better, especially with the EV buses, which is around. So that this definitely decreases the congestion because we don't need to be taking our own cars. And of course, improving the air quality in the cities. Metro is another testimony to this. Integrated data system, because this is the main, this is the brain of the entire ecosystem when you want to really look at it, because this enables a seamless data-driven decision making and service delivery. Although is in Bangalore, I still recommend to visit a police command center. You will see the seamless connection what one would imagine. And there's a lot more which is happening in the city in the coming days, but that is nothing but the decision which will help in data-driven, because morning I did hear about the kind of congestion and how can you decongest the city and so on, but again, it is not a small city, it is not as, because by the end of the day, if you try to address one nuance, there are four more which is cropping up because the city is growing so fast. Sustainable energy, because we all have been discussing enough and more on this, and this is something extremely important, which again the government is promoting the government is pushing hard across India, because I don't know how many of you know that recently the Prime Minister also announced telling that most of the villages will be covered with the solar energy, and he has granted in the recent mid-budget which was announced to cover more than 10,000 villages to start with on this particular topic. Digital governance, because this brings in the transparency, efficiency, and definitely a citizen engagement. Because why did the police commissioner call? Because he wanted to engage and he wanted to understand. Because police alone, or else in silos, any department within the government, they will not be able to address it, they will not be able to find an answer to most of the nuances, so that the partnership between the public and the government is extremely important. Public-private as well as the government is extremely important. And that's where the smart partnership comes into play. Leveraging the technology for sustainable urban development, by the end of the day, what is important is enhancing the quality of life of the citizens who live in that city or state or country. So for that, sustainable urban development is important at every stage, and improving infrastructure and utilities is something extremely important. We all see that every day the city is done by one or the other departments. There are enough discussions even at the government level, how can they be bringing in a cohesiveness so that they work together to see to it that when once one digs, everybody can be able to lay the pipes or else the cables. This is where the smart city came into picture, because Bangalore witnessed a huge inconvenience during this period. But at least today, I do not know how many of you have witnessed the number of CC cameras which are getting installed across the city is primarily using these cables which have been laid as part of the smart city at Bangalore, and more than 100 cities are getting covered by this. So, Government of India, under the name AMRUT, that is Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, they have already looked at and carved a lot of these under the banner of AMRUT, and this is the Government of India initiative which they are upgrading more than 100 cities in India as smart cities, including a few from Karnataka. So if you see, this is a KPI or else this is a chart which shows how it could be, because I know when compared to Germany, the first time again we are reinventing our cycle tracks, because this should have been very fundamental and basics, but again, better late than ever, again we are coming back on this. The smart classrooms is another important aspect as a part of CSR. Most of our multinationals are working towards it, because on one side the government is really putting so much of efforts to ensure that internet is being used in all the villages, the remote of the remote villages, and when once the internet is provided, the next immediate aspect is how can we make the teaching much more impactful so that the entire country participates in the progress. Because just now we heard telling that more than 60% of our population is in the age group which is able to contribute towards the development of this country. So the smart classrooms adds up, and we from Merck and a lot of other companies, not just only us, every year we add up hundreds of smart classrooms to some of the remote villages as a part of our CSR campaign, so that we are covering as many villages as possible, so that you will be able to bring in the same kind of learning what is happening in the urban population for the urban students. Again, this is another area which, again, most of the cities are struggling with respect to the waste management and generate the energy out of waste. And again, if you see Jabalpur plant stands a testimony to this, and this is one of the areas where in Karnataka we have been struggling, and we need to be putting some efforts to see to it that we cover in this area. There are more than 100 command centers which is integrated, and again there are a lot of parts getting developed and the skill development, because I don't know how many of you have really understood under the Government of India mission there is a skill development mission which has been set up with one of the ex-managing director of McKinsey, being a part of it, one of the IAS officer, and Dr. Balasubramanian, again, who is a professor in Harvard, being a part of this as a part of skill development, and this reports to the ministry directly, because India is preparing for 2030 the kind of skills what is absolutely required in this country across different areas. Another important parameter which the government is really putting efforts in the under the capacity building is we have administrative service, which is general, that is IAS. But when an IAS officer is deputed either to the health or else education, this becomes a very niche requirement. So the government is coming up with a very clear training program for these administrative services so that they get prepared in those specific areas under the skill development in the economic infrastructure platform. Technological innovations in Indian smart cities, again, I covered on this. So integration of IoT, we heard enough from morning on this particular topic. Incorporation of AI, just again, it was covered, and adoption of renewable energy, again, I heard enough of this. So if you really look at it, we are forwarding as a city, state, and country towards becoming the smart country, because multiple smart cities together brings in a smart country, and big data analytics, because we are really moving forward, because one of those days we were just preparing the dashboards as a part of AI, but again we are moving into predictive and much more into predictive, and a lot of these aspects are bringing in the decision making ability towards us. So just to conclude, one is enhanced urban infrastructure, which is a big drive across India. Improvised citizen well-being, because a lot of startups are being funded, which is around this particular space, and global leadership in smart city initiatives, because we are really moving forward. One good thing about India is probably we might be laid back in the past, but when once we take up something and we start, again, the pace at which we drive and deliver is humongous, and that is where again, I'm sure in the next 5 to 10 years, we will have a global leadership on this particular topic. So just, if you look at what are the smart solutions, I don't want to spend too much time on this, which encompasses all the discussions, whatever, all the slides, whatever we had, there's a conclusion slide. Waste management is something which we covered, the water treatment, again, zero discharge from all the companies, the pollution control board is becoming so strict that every company has to follow, and even the apartment complex these days are made it mandatory that there has to be a zero discharge. The energy management, you know what it is, because not only just in the industries, even in some of the apartment complexes, the smart meters and managements are being used. And overall, the smart solutions are picking up to make the city as a smart city and as the country as a smart country. Thank you.